Welcome back. Today we'll be talking about the investment culture in Nigeria. We did so last week and everyone was so enthusiastic about it. So we brought back one of our guests and a special new one to discuss this topic. We'll be opening up the phone lines again, so we'll be hearing your questions, your concerns, and our guests will be giving you advice on ways to invest more and save more in the coming years. Joining us in today's program to discuss this, we have
with us today in the studio Maryam Musa. She is a financial service advisor, also with the Abuja Leasing Company. Welcome to the Weekend Show, Maryam.
Thank you, Andy. Nice to be here.
Back with us in the studio, we also have with us Paul Alaje. He is a senior economist with SPM Professionals. Welcome back, Paul.
Thank you so very much for having me. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'll start with you, Mr. Paul. Last week when we were talking about investment, you talked about real estate, especially for those who are looking to go the long haul. But a friend of mine brought up a very salient issue, which was if in 2015 you invested $1 million in real estate, that was approximately 215 million naira. And in 2019, you're selling that property for about 360 million. That is still $1 million. So are we really making money even when we invest in real estate for those who are looking to go the long haul?
Now, when you invest in real estate, it depends on the method of investment. For me, if you invest 2015 and in 2019, that's a medium-term investment. We're referring to long-term investment. And it's not just those who want to cash in 4 or 5 years, but people who wants to perhaps build properties and give it out for people, maybe on lease or for rent, the language we are more familiar with here. That's what we refer to. So you earn both rental value, and you also earn based on the value of the property. So two things. Then if you had invested $1 million and you're making extra $1 million in 4 years, it depends on where. So I would rather you invest in real estate in a place like Life Camp, where development and housing is growing and competition in the environment is higher, than to put it, and this will shock you, in Asokoro. Because if you buy a piece of property in Asokoro, Asokoro has developed to a level. The demand for property in Asokoro is within a certain class of people, not the middle class or the upper middle class, where you have the real money for real estate. So you need to choose your location very carefully. A lot of people in Lagos are considering Ibejuleki. You buy a piece of land, a plot of land, I beg your pardon, maybe for 500,000 to about 5 million naira. In the next 5 years, it certainly will not be the same. But when you do the same in, say, Ijebu Shara, which is also Ibeju, or one kind of Ijebu, if you buy for 100,000, by the time you're selling, it might be, say, about 300, 400,000 naira. It depends on the forces, the invisible forces of demand and supply that adjudicate prices. Real estate, before you go into it, I would strongly recommend that you do three things. Number one is location. Number two is location. Number three is location. Where are you building the property? Who holds the location and what is the title?
But even with location,
yes.
So you haven't addressed the issue of inflation. Because if at 2015, $1 million equals 215 million, in 2019, $1 million equals 360 million. In terms of valuation of the Naira, that means you're really not making anything. I want to bring you in here as well. What do you think about that? Because people are looking for diverse ways of investing. And I remember some callers last week said, what does sure means? 100% zero risk. And Mr. Paul brought that as an opportunity. So can you talk to me more about this and your thoughts, and what other investment opportunities can they be guaranteed that they will have full return on investment and bear zero risk? Is that possible?
Yeah, it's actually possible. You know, in our society today, whereby a lot of Nigerians do not actually have the savings and investment culture. For example, now, in the financial services world, real estate is fantastic, what he's talking about, but there are also other instruments of investment. You can invest in stocks, bonds, mutual interest, and so forth. When it comes to safe and high-risk investment, mostly you put your money in places like, for example, I work with Abuja Leasing Company. We have several products that we offer to people who want to invest short-term, long-term. There are also other places like ARM, and they also have between 6 months to 12 months investment. Now, the problem with people investing in such places is that they find it difficult to trust these financial organizations. I believe when Nigerians have that trust in them, that okay, yes, I'm going to trust to put my money here and it's going to be safe, a lot of Nigerians would have that savings and investment culture. And when we're talking about savings and investment, it's actually used interchangeably, but they actually mean different things. You know, Warren Buffett said you should actually save before spending. You understand? But then mostly Nigerians look at it this way. There's so much to do out there. You get your income. Sometimes it's not enough. So how do you tell an average person, invest, save for future use? It's actually very difficult, but it's actually something that comes in handy, you know, during the rainy days. So there's so many investment opportunities out there and products and services that one can invest. As I said, like stocks, bonds, mutual interest, investment instruments. I want to talk about one in particular that I'm very familiar with. Goes usually for people who work both public, private sectors, people who are into businesses. Even though it may not yield as much, people say, will this yield much for me? If I invest my money in business, it will generate more for me than if I invest in this product. But the thing is, as a financial person, I would advise you diversify your investment portfolio. If you have 50 million naira, you can put 30% in real estate. You can put another 40% in another investment, buy bonds, shares, and another 20% in any business.
Well, sorry to cut you short, Maryam. It's interesting you mentioned the word trust. In 2007, 2008, we had the stock market boom in Nigeria. People bought shares at 12 naira. It got up to as high as 35 naira.
Yeah.
Fast forward 4 or 5 years, those shares have gone down to about 5 naira. And these were with the institutions which we are meant to trust, like the commercial banks. Until today, most of those shares haven't even gotten to the level it was when we invested in it. And so lately, there's been a lot of talk about Forex. Oh, you can invest in Forex. There was the Bitcoin bubble, which we don't know, which I think is still a bubble. But why should Nigerians actually invest and save their money in Nigeria when we can cite examples of the stock market crash which we've had? So why should people rather invest in Nigeria, in Abuja here, than take that money abroad? I'll hear from you, Maryam.
Okay. First and foremost, we are Nigerians to start with, so we have to start home. But then it's also a good opportunity to look outside. When you're talking about Bitcoin is a decentralized method of investment. You know, it's mining basically. There's no intermediary involved. It's an online app. Now, one Bitcoin is equivalent to about 3.7 million naira, actually, I think up to date now. But then there are also a lot of risks involved with Bitcoin. Due to the fact that there are no intermediaries, there's no bank, it's just an online app, you get to you can sell goods and services and be paid in Bitcoin. Actually, it's a very good opportunity. But then in cases of death, nobody can access your Bitcoin. There are codes that you know yourself, and then there's nothing like, okay, next of kin, going to the bank, I have to take this. You left a child or wife, and then they have to claim that property. It's gone for good. And then there's the issue of fraud. Actually, there's been a lot of hacking when it comes to Bitcoin being secure online. So in as much as it generates a lot of income, you know, no, it's not something personally you could, like I said, I'm all for diversifying your investment portfolio, and Forex is good as well. You mentioned Forex. Forex is, you know, trading of currencies. For example, if China decides, okay, they're going to devalue their currency just like because exactly because they want more foreign business into their.
The way I like to summarize this is that invest in what you understand.
Yeah.
I, at a very young age, realized that if you don't invest in what you understand, you stand the risk at losing a lot.
Yeah.
I remember when I was just only 16 and my sister used to work at the stock exchange, Nigerian Stock Exchange, and I had all this savings from my pocket money. You know, I had, you know, built up to at least $10,000, and I gave it to her and I asked her, please invest in some stocks for me. And obviously with the stock market crash, you know, at that time I was like, Father Lord, that was the last time I ever invested in stocks. So Mr. Paul, I saw you shaking your head, agreeing to some of the things and disagreeing. So can you talk to us more about some diversified options that we can invest in? But before you do that, I'd like to open up the phone lines. That's 080-3333. 4770. That's 080-3333-4770. So for those of you who have questions and want to ask advice to our distinguished guest, you can call in. Already there's a call, so just hold that thought and you can answer this. Hello, your name and where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Abuja.
Okay, can you turn down your TV set?
How I will get that money as a businessman?
Yeah, can you turn down your TV set so we can hear you?
I'm a businessman, then I come up.
Can you hear anything?
He's a businessman.
Okay, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Zakari Danjuma.
Okay, Zakari, what's your contribution to the conversation?
So my contribution as a businessman,
Yes.
Go on.
how I will get that money?
Oh, like how does he get money for his investments?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Oh, okay, so talking about diversified investment. First, I would like to say that all investment have a measure of risks.
Yes.
So for real estate, it's a bit higher than putting your money in the bank as fixed deposits. The worst type of investment is to put your money under your pillow, because there is an invisible hand that is eating from your money. It will not knock your door before it eats from it. Its name is inflation and exchange rate risk. Because of history that we have about our country, when Naira was established in the 70s, 10 years after, 20 years after, until now, the rates are not the same. So the same Naira, but because it is currency, it moves like current, it is flowing towards zero. What 1 Naira would buy then is certainly not what 1 Naira would buy now. So its currency is flowing down, it's not flowing up. And that happens to almost all the currencies in the world, not just Nigerian currency. That is what Bitcoin attempts to solve. Unfortunately for Bitcoin, it has a lot of limitations. And a lot of investment personnel that we've spoken at different platforms, they have also made them to understand that investment in Bitcoin and buying stocks, they have meaningful level of risks. What is it? It's the forces of demand and supply. So when somebody comes to you, by the time you buy 2 Bitcoin, by certainly tomorrow, you cannot give certainty. The business or the investment that give you certain return in Nigeria today, they are debt market, not equity market. So stock is in equity market. But debt market, it is the federal government through CBN that is putting its integrity on that document. Say, if you buy this treasury bill, however, you have to part with your money for some time. So the risk, the higher the risk, because the risk with investing with CBN or investing with federal government bond or Sukuk bond, Islamic bond in this manner, it's low. So your interest will be very, very low. So you don't expect to get 100% per annum or 50% per annum, because with low risk comes low interest. But when you want to go into real estate, for instance, with high returns, what happens? You're also going to be faced with risk of the building collapse, risk of artisans supplying you fake materials, risk of, there are a lot of risks you just have to carry. So in investment diversification is the way to go. But for me, like you mentioned, put quality volume of money or meaningful amount of money in what you understand. So what do you understand? All you understand is fixed deposits, which is the third layer of investment. The second layer is putting your money in savings. And if you put your money in savings, you get microscopic interest.
Beyond that, even so I have a savings account with one of the commercial banks, and each time I try to make sure it's at a certain figure. But every month, I actually have to come and top it up, because there's one maintenance fee, there's one service fee, and I keep asking myself, this is a savings account. And so the money is not under my bed, but it's still disappearing.
Yeah, it's second level. You need to move to fourth, fifth level of investment.
Now, but A system that has worked is Susu in the villages, in offices. People come together and put 10,000 naira. It's rotational. In Pakistan or Bangladesh, they have a system where the community loans you money and they won't loan anybody until you pay. You understand? But so traditional methods have worked for us. Why are we not pushing that? But I think we have a call. Let's hear our caller.
Go ahead.
Good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from, please.
My name is Femi. I'm calling from Abuja.
Hi, Femi. What's your contribution to the conversation?
I want to say I like your show.
Thank you.
Keep it up. You are doing a good work.
Thank you.
And I want to actually say hi to Paul Alaje.
Okay.
I like his analysis on economic matter. It's a good, by my standard, actually.
Okay.
I want to say that what you just said it up by saying that we should put our money in investment we have clue to.
Yeah.
You understand? That is just the line to investment. When you have knowledge about a certain area, it will be safer to invest in that area. And your mind will be a lot at rest, knowing that you know under the pitfalls that may draw you back as regards to your investment. So that is just my contribution. I want to say that is just the key to investment, knowing exactly where you want to put your money into. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you. Brilliant contribution. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Hello?
Hello, can you turn down your TV set and tell us your name? Okay, we lost our caller. Hello? Hello, good morning. All right, I think we have a delayed transmission. So while we're sorting that out, Mr. Paul, well, obviously you have many fans. That's why you're here for the second time in a row. But continue. Oh, sorry. So, hello, your name and where you're calling from?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Okay, I'm calling from Akwa.
Okay, can you turn down your TV set?
Okay.
Hello, your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Akwa State. My name is Anderson.
Okay, Anderson, we would need you to turn off your TV set or else we'll have to take the second caller.
Okay, can you turn down your TV set?
Okay.
Okay, what's your contribution?
Okay, Anderson, we'll need you to turn off
All right, I think, yes, I think we'd have to take another call. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
My name is Joe.
Hi, Joe. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Abuja here.
Okay, what's your contribution to the conversation?
Yes, I want to really commend your program very well. You guys are doing a great job,
Thank you, Joe.
especially to Mr. Paul there. Please, I have a question on the Treasury bill.
Go ahead.
I've been made to understand is the most low risk investment. But the question I want to ask, Treasury bill is being handled by most commercial banks I know, or financial institutions. But I'm a little bit confused over the one that Sterling Bank is doing. That you have to get an app and invest through the app. I don't really understand it.
Okay.
In case of any eventuality, who regulates that kind of investment? By the government, or what do we do?
Okay. Mr. Paul, can you quickly answer that?
Yeah,
we
first,
take it
your risk with commercial bank in Nigeria are really very low because of Apex Bank functionalities. We are very functional central bank now that ensures that investors, either equity owner, those that owns the bank, shareholders, or people that are putting their money in form of investment in the bank at very low risk. And we have to give kudos to CBN for doing that. We saw some banks having issues in recent time, and we saw the way CBN intervened by creating Brick Bank and all of that. Now, when that bank, because I'm not sure if they paid for it, but when that bank mentioned that,
Thank you.
that you should download an app, they are selling to you secondary treasury bill, not primary treasury bill. The challenge with primary treasury bill, there are about three. First, there is minimum amount that you need to invest, except if CBN wants to sell directly to you. So CBN will prefer to sell to financial institutions, not limited to DMBs, Deposit Money Bank, which we call commercial banks. It's not limited to them. There are other institutions that could buy, like she mentioned. They could actually meet some requirement. Finance houses, for instance, may be able to do that. So it may not necessarily be looking at commercial bank, but you have to trust some financial institutions. So when you look at their capital base, that will tell you if you should invest in them or not. If the capital base is very low, I don't advise you to invest certain amount with organization with capital base. And please, for you to invest, you also need to maybe have a little bit of education, because that's the biggest asset in investment. Say investment education. So for me, I would advise him that if you want to invest with commercial bank and you don't have up to =1 million naira, if you have up to =1 million naira, mandate them that what you want is treasury bill, primary treasury bill. They will do that for you if you insist. But if you don't have up to that, some of them will tell you that what will give you is treasury bill, which of course is the truth, but it's secondary. So you don't expect the rates which they will get primary to be the same thing. Now, treasury bill is so safe because, one, people have attributed it to be one of the safest and one of the best investments you do, particularly if you are risk averse, because the term is shorter than bond of 5 years, 2 years. So you have limited time. You can do that in 3 months, in 6 months, in 1 year, and get your fund back. So that's why it is good. Then the interest is as sure as death, except if you have closed down the Republic, Federal Republic. So it's as sure as death.
Let me bring Maryam in here. So it's good we are talking about short term also, because the average Nigerian who makes minimum wage or between 20 to 100,000 naira is looking to invest or save money in some way. But Maryam, realistically, how long do you think people need to wait after? Because with investment, it's about the wait also. How long do you think is the good period for people to invest money before they start expecting to see good profit? What would you advise the low income earners?
Well, with low income earners, actually I'd advise they start early. As he said earlier, the sooner you start, the better, because by the time you realize, when you start earning your income and then you go a few months, you don't have that savings or investment culture, you have bills, they start piling up, and then you start getting used to a certain trend of not saving or investing. So the minute you start earning, if low earners 100,000 or 150,000, there's certain investments you do. You could put 20,000 every month. It's like the what do you call the Osasu Alaje? Just that with this you can get some returns on it, not as high as treasury bills, of course, maybe between 10 to 12%, which is okay. Fair. And then you also have a culture in you, and you could use it. You know, we have unforeseen contingencies, so you can use it as well during that case. So I think you can start low. You don't have to wait till you have, you know, an enormous amount of money to start saving or investing. So
the generation that saw the shutdown of Wonder Bank and the likes, where their entire savings were taken away, are somewhat adverse to going back to the banks and putting their money. They're rather the traditional way of putting it in a container, sticking it under their bed, or putting under the mattress. So I know CBN has made concerted effort to ensure that does not happen again. But is there still any slight possibility that as of today, in 2019, a bank can shut down and all your money in it will be gone? Is that possible?
Now, when you talk about bank, if it is DMB, I would say no. If it is MFB, I would say yes. MFB, a microfinance bank, I would say yes. And I have report of people who have lost their fund because of the size of the bank. Now, people have promised crazy interest rates, even with microfinance banks, saying they will give you 60% per annum. So where are they going to invest? You see, the question is, they should convince you or tell you where they will invest before you give your money to them. So what is responsible for loss of funds most of the time is the greed in people. I was on the show where MMM was trending, and I told them, that was around October thereabout, that please stop doing this. MMM representative, live show. Do you know more than 10 people called? All the 10 people abused me. All the 10 that called. They said, we respect you, we know you, we do this, we are still your fan, but on this matter we will not agree. Because government is our problem. This one is our problem. That one is our... I said, you are about to sick. And the MMM guy were laughing at me on the show. You know what happened? December came. January. All of them lost their money. All. Including people I know very well. So I was invited to your studio. I think Babe Garuloba's show. And he was asking about MMM. And I remember that, oh, a few months down the line, I was on the show. And they said, I don't know if the people that called then are watching this show. But this is to tell you, I don't want to gloat. That's not the intention. But the intention is that when somebody promises you that you will have 100% in a month, you ask him, I'm fine with that, it's good, but show me how you will make 300% in a month. If you cannot prove to me that you make 300% in a month, then how do you pay me? So when government said they will pay you 14%, 15% in a year, you know that something is coming from Niger Delta. So government can pay you back. Government will make revenue. It could be in form of taxes and so on and so forth. But even when you do business, that businesses you can make 100% in a year. So when you say I should invest in your business, I want to see your business plan. I want to see your visibility study. I want to see what you've done before. I want to know your history before I put my money in that.
Mr. Paul, Maryam, thank you so much for your time. There's never enough time to talk about the issue of savings and investment in Nigeria. Our phone lines are blowing up. We're sorry we can't take all of your calls, but keep the conversation going on our social media pages at Weekend Show NG on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Don't forget to visit our website, www.weekendshowng.com. We'll take a short break right now. More on The Weekend Show. Don't touch that dial.